So about a few weeks ago, I made a post in anticipation for hitting 2,000 subscribers, asking you guys if you had any questions for me so I could do a Q&A video. And recently, I finally hit the 2,000 subscriber mark, so thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. So I finally decided today be a good day for me to go and record the Q&A. And plus, it's sunny today. I have like a really good place in mind where I think I'm gonna be able to film this. So we're gonna head there right now and do this Q&A. But first, have to come get gas. I never actually record myself pre-mixing, by the way, because it's just really troublesome to record pre-mixing and your hands all oily and stuff. So I never record it, but trust me, I am actually pre-mixing, just in case you guys ever wonder. So here I am at this convenience store. It's actually one of my favorite convenience stores. It just sucks that it's also another like 30-something minutes away from me. So it's not like I could come here every day, but when I get the chance, and it's like a nice day like this, I usually come here. It's in Long Island, so but usually when I do come here, I also go to a cafe that I really like, which is really near here as well. So I'm gonna be doing that after I make this video. You know, I have some schoolwork that I need to catch up on that's overdue, so I gotta do that real quick. But yeah, I'm gonna answer some of your questions. So like I said, I made a post about it, asking you guys for any questions that you guys had, and I'll be answering it in a video like a few weeks ago. I'm gonna be answering some of those, and as well as some of the questions that you guys left in the comment section below in other videos, like the most frequent questions. So I'm gonna be answering that as well. I have answered some of them on the comments itself, but I figured this will be stuff that you guys, like if you guys haven't seen those videos, I feel like this might be questions that you guys have. So I'm gonna answer it in this video as well. It's not gonna be a crazy long video, it's not like a crazy amount of questions, but I have everything on a Google Drive, so I'm opening that up right now. So this way I don't have to be scrolling through the video itself to find all the comments. Put everything on the drive, so we're gonna be answering it from that. But first, let's crack open this can of coffee, which was $2 for this small thing, but it's pretty good, so I think it's worth it. Alright, it looks like they're having their inventories delivered right now. I'm gonna just, I don't know if you guys can see, but that truck is delivering the store's inventory, so hopefully you guys don't hear too much of that, but I should honestly be fine. I'm just gonna jump into the first question. So, Green Tea Frap asks, it was funny because I work at a Starbucks, but Green Tea Frap asks, what are your thoughts on the Mazda rotary powered battery extender, or the hydrogen rotary engine? I think it's pretty cool. I would love to see Mazda put the rotary back in a sports car, but from the patents like that they've been filing, I think they do have plans for that, so I'm just looking forward to see that. But on the rotary powered battery range extender in general, alright, so the truck actually just left right now, so hopefully you guys won't be hearing too much of those random background noises. But anyways, back to what I was saying before. What are my thoughts on the rotary range extender? I think it's a really cool idea. I don't know like 100% like the in-depth details of it, but I have seen an engineering explain video of it, and he does a really good job of telling you how it works and how everything works. And I think it's a cool concept. It's really different from the traditional using a piston engine as a range extender. And I think different is good, especially when I think Mazda is just like thinking of any ways to bring back the rotary engine before like everything goes electric. But from what I remember reading, Mazda is also working on like a synthetic fuel as well. So you know, fingers crossed. Hopefully that becomes a thing as well. But my thoughts on it is just that it's cool. I haven't test driven the MX-30, which is what's using the rotary power battery, like the range extender. So I don't really have too much thoughts on it, but I think it's a cool concept, and I can't wait to see more of it. Obviously, by working on, you know, the rotary battery extender, right? They're also working on rotary technology, so they're improving on that as well. From like I remember watching engineering explained video, and he goes into depth about like how the improvements that they made to fuel consumption and everything. And hopefully when Mazda finally do make a rotary power sports car again, they could take all of the engineering that they used on their rotary range extender, and they'll put that into the sports car. And you know, that's what I really hope. And my thoughts for the hydrogen rotary engine, I don't really have too much thoughts on it, to be honest. The last time I remember reading about it was they tested rotary powered RX-8, a hydrogen rotary power RX-8, and it ran and it did good. I think it was on a rally car. That's really all I know about it, so I don't have too much thoughts about it. Unless everything suddenly switches over to hydrogen in the future, I don't think it's gonna be making too big of a, you know, too big of an impact on the market right now. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it for now. And he also asked, would you make a fun tier list of some of your favorite street cars? This one is tough because there's so many cars, and this is not scripted, by the way. None of this is scripted, so thinking on top of my head right now, for me to come up with a list of fun street cars is pretty hard. Alright, so I have to cut for this one because there's a lot of street cars. I don't know which one are my favorites, to be honest, but I wrote down a few just on top of my head that I really like, and I haven't driven all of them, so I don't know if this is a really good list, but these are just some of the street cars I think are really fun. Number one is obviously Miatas. My first car was a Miata. I think they're probably like the best first car, to be honest. Like, you could take the top down whenever you want. They come in manual, automatics. The automatics, I don't know how to feel about those, but the manual gearbox is so good. It's so forgiving. If you're first time learning how to drive manuals, I think Miatas are, amazing. They're low power. You can't crash. I mean, you could crash, but like, you won't get yourself in trouble. Even if you floor it on the highway, you probably just get to like, you won't even be at speed limit yet. Just roll through the gears, you'll be fine. So Miatas, definitely my favorite street car. The second thing I thought of was Civics. I think Civics are cool. I mean, they're like the first car for a lot of people. I think if you could find yourself like a manual Civic or maybe an older one, it'll be a good way to learn how to drive manual in. And plus, you get 4 doors to drive your friends around, and they're reliable. Civics are definitely a cool street car in my opinion, especially if you put some rims on it, maybe lower it a little bit. It really stands out in my opinion. Next would be 350Zs. I think for a V6, you get a lot of horsepower, and you get those manual automatic as well. 2 doors, no 4 seats though. I think they're cool just because my friend had a 350Z as his first car, and for the price that he paid for it, I don't think there is much that you could. I don't think you could really go wrong for what you're paying for, is what I'm saying. And the last thing I thought of was not a Japanese car. This was one of the first car I actually thought about buying, a Camaro, a V6 Camaro. I think those are really cool cars, specifically the 5th gen. I think they make for a really fun street car. They're a good platform to learn manual on from what I've read online when I was researching. And plus you get 4 seats. The visibility is not the best though, but I really like Camaros. I thought I added a little bit of American muscle in there as well. But favorite street cars, there's definitely a lot more on top of my head. But if I just list them all out, this would be a really long video. So those are the 4 on top of my head right now. But yeah, move on to the next question. So, let's see. Yagu, he asked, what made you get into cars? Well, he asked a few questions, but the first one was, what made you get into cars? Well, it's honestly my dad. Growing up, my dad is he is still a really big car guy, and he definitely imprinted that onto me at a young age. I remember the first thing he ever showed me was Initial D, so we watched Initial D together when I was young, and that's how I fell into cars. And he would just bring me home model toy cars, like every other day, and I was just like, wow, okay. And yeah, he kind of grew me into a car guy. So he also, second question is, what's the fastest you ever went? Honestly, on street roads, I haven't really gone that fast. Like, my favorite part of driving is around the back roads and on the toll gates. So it's not like there's ever a point where I could just floor it and, test the straight line speed of my car. That's not the type of driving I enjoyed the most. But what is the fastest I ever went? Have to really think about this. I would probably say, allegedly, probably 105. But yeah, I think that's like the most I ever went. I've definitely gone faster in other people's car, like as a passenger, but driving myself, I don't think I've gone higher than 105, if I'm being completely honest with you. And he also asked, what's the best road trip / cruise you went so far? I have to think for this one. I haven't really been to many road trips. The best one, honestly, probably my first time out to River Road in Long Island. That's definitely not the longest road trip. I don't even know if you consider that a road trip. In my head, road trips are like trips that you take for you drive like a whole day or something. But I've driven to Rhode Island in the Miata before. I think that was a really nice road trip, but it was storming at the time, so it wasn't really fun. But if I was to think about just my most fun trip in general, I think coming out to Long Island when I had my Miata during COVID was probably some of the best just cruise I ever went on. But with Sean, actually, we just it was COVID. During COVID, we had to work because we were considered essential workers. But after work, we would go get grocery. We'd go grocery shopping because grocery is so hard to come by at the time. So we went shopping. Before going home, we would just drive around a little bit because there's literally no cars on the highway. So it was just a lot of fun. It's probably my my best cruise. So if I was thinking on top of my head, that's probably gonna be the best one. And what's the most crazy thing I ever saw driving on the road? I don't know. I feel like for a lot of people it would be like, I'm thinking like, does this just mean the most expensive car I've seen driving on the road? If so, it'd probably be some sort of Lamborghini. But like the most crazy thing to me that I ever saw driving on the road was a 3-rotor RX-7 out by JRP Imports. It's a rotary shop in Jersey. When I went back there, they had a 3-rotor RX-7. My first time seeing one running and driving in person. It was a really cool experience. Just the sound, the smell, and everything. Fantastic, I must say. But yeah, that's it for Yagu's questions. Moving on to the next one. Alright, so Knight asks, if not the RX-7, then what car do you want to get next? Let's see, if not the RX-7, I really want RX-7, but if not the RX-7, it'd probably be a Miata of some sort. I think the Miatas would be a really fun daily, you know, have the top down and everything. Honestly, I never liked convertibles before having a Miata, but ever since I had my first Miata, it changed my mind on the convertible game, and I really like it. And the newest one, the ND Miatas, ND2 Miatas, I really like, especially if it comes, I would want like a hardtop version, the retractable fastback. I think those are some really nice car. Get one in manual and just be like a fun daily car, and I could turn the RX-8 into my my track toy. Or my toge toy, I don't know. But yeah, Miata, probably an ND Miata. If not the ND Miata, probably be some, but the Mazda 3, I think that it's also that would make for a really fun daily. And I've seen the Mazda 3 hatch, like the newest ones, on like blacked out, lowered. I think they look really mean, but I'm also really biased towards Mazda. So, but if not Mazda at all, then probably be the Supra, the newest Supra, the 2022, like 2020 plus Supra. I think those are really cool cars. I've driven one recently and it's fantastic as well. So those are probably the cars I would get next, if not the RX-7. And Life Tips ask, what was the motive for getting an RX-8 as a daily? And this one's pretty easy. My dream car is a RX-7, and the easiest way for me to get into the rotary platform without having the RX-7 being my first one was to get an RX-8. RX-8s are cheap. At the time I was looking for them, I found so many of them for like, you know, $3,000, $6,000 that had really good, like, you know, that was really good. Some of them had compression tests, which is, in my opinion, the key for buying RX-8. But even like the ones that had good compression tests, you could get them for $6,000. Now I am seeing them go up in price, which is kind of crazy how fast the jump was from when I was buying it to now, because it's only been a year. But now I'm seeing, like, you know, the really clean RX-8s with like good compression, low mileage, they sell only for like $14,000, and I've seen some sell on Marketplace for $14,000. So that's kind of crazy. But I mean, it's just the price of cars going up, I guess, and the RX-8 is a pretty good car, so I'm not too surprised. But that's the motive for me getting RX-8 as my daily. And next question by Def K, favorite cars from countries. Oh, an example would be France with the Alpine A110s, German with BMW M3. Okay. This one I'm gonna have to think about for a little bit, because there's a lot of countries, and there's countries that make cars that I don't even know. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to answer that question to your liking, but I'm going to summarize it a little bit. I'm just going to go by region. Hopefully that, you know, hopefully that satisfies your question. So like, for example, European cars, I honestly don't love European cars all that much. I know my dad is like a huge European guy. My cousin Brian is really into European cars, but for me personally, they're just, you know, it's okay for me. I think they're cool. They're definitely well manufactured. They're well made. I think they're cool cars, but it's just not my cup of tea. But for European cars, like my favorite European car probably like a Porsche GT4. I think those are really cool cars. BMW E36 M3. Those are really cool as well. My dad had one when I was younger, and I just had a lot of good memories in that car. I really like it as well. What other European cars are there that I like? I really like the Lamborghini Gallardos. That's probably my favorite supercar, or the Ferrari 458. Those are my top picks. And for American cars, I really like muscle cars. My favorite American muscle would be either a Camaro or a Corvette. Probably be those two. And then for Asian countries, Mazda RX-7 obviously, but I'm super biased towards that because I just love Mazdas. But if not that, probably a Nissan GTR, R32, R34. Those are my favorites. And aside from that, I can't think of any on top of my head right now. But hopefully that satisfies your question. Sorry I can't answer the whole thing. I would have to spend a little bit of time and actually look through all of the countries and their manufacturers and actually written out a written out like detailed answer for that, but hopefully that's okay with you for now. And long question right here. Arrow has 4 questions, but the first one is, what do you think about car wash versus hand wash? Do you or would you ever hand wash a car? All right, so he asked this question because he's seen I take my car to like a gas station wash all the time. It's one of those like pressure thing, you know. So I would hand wash my car. In fact, I do hand wash my car. It's just as hard to hand wash my car because, like I said, many of you guys probably know I live in New York City, and it's really hard to, like, I don't have, if I go out, there's not like a garden hose I could connect to for water. So I would have to take like buckets of water from my apartment, take it out, walk it outside to my car, wash, and then bring it back in, just change out the water. And so it's really hard. So that's why I prefer hand waterless washes, or just taking it to the gas station, put in some coins, and just wash my car that way. But there's something I want to say I'm forgetting right now. Even when I do go to the gas station to wash my car, I never really use the brushes that they give you. I just kind of do like just a water only wash. So I mean like a touchless wash. What I mean by that is just spray it with the water, get the dirt loose, and then spray it with soap, and that really agitates the dirt, and then rinse it again with water, and then I would use the scrubs for like my wheels or something like that. But yeah, that's just the way I've been washing my car, and honestly the car really needs a good detail, so definitely something that I'm gonna be doing in the near future. And what features do you like the most about your car? I don't know, what do you consider a feature? I'm just like thinking, a feature, like I don't think the RX-8 have too many standout features. Like, do you consider the rotary engine a feature? Because if so, then that's probably my favorite feature. I love the rotary. I think the high revving nature of it is really cool, but I don't know if that's a feature of the car, because there's other cars with rotary engines. But if not that, then probably the suicide doors. I think the suicide doors are really cool. It gives you a really nice way for people to get into the back seats, and it's always like a conversation starter when the people see it for the first time. So that'll probably be my favorite features. And if you were to get an electric car in the future, what would it be and why? I know there's a lot of electric cars on the market right now. Some of them are really cool. I really like the newer like Rivians. I think they're cool cars. But honestly, if I was to get an electric car, it'd probably just be a Tesla. It's not because like I love Teslas or anything. I just think the words are slipping my mind. I just think the charging network for Teslas are so much better than everything else at the moment. I've seen videos like, what was it, Rich Rebuild and the Stradman recently, right? They went on their ventures in their new electric vehicles, and the charging network for his Rivian and Stradman's the Hummer, right? They both had issues charging it on their way home. So I think Tesla's probably just got the best charging network right now. And if I do have to get an electric car, it'd probably be that, just because it's easier to charge. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Tesla. And if I was to get an SUV, what SUV would you get in this market and why? Honestly, I don't really like SUVs all that much. I don't know too many on top of my head right now. If I had to get an SUV, I'm thinking Mazda again. I really like the way that the MX-50. I really like the MX-50, how that looks right now. Is it MX-50 or CX-50? Let me double check real quick. So it's actually CX-50, not the MX-50. I'm gonna put a picture of it on screen right here. I'm looking at it right now. Put a picture of it on screen right here so you guys can see. I think it looks really cool. I saw one driving on the road on my way here actually, and I thought it looked cool. Like I love the way it looks. I don't really have too much like requirements for SUVs, honestly, in my opinion, because I'm not a super big SUV guy. But so I can't think of any features I need in my SUV. I just think if it looks cool, it gets good gas mileage, and it's quick enough on the roads for me to speed up when I need to, I think it's fine. So I don't really have a preference. But if I had to get one right now, the one thing that I'm thinking of right now is the CX-50. I think they just look cool, and it's really the only reason. All right, so next question. Lioness asks, what's the most expensive car you drove so far? I honestly don't know. I never really think about the value of the car before I drive it. Most expensive car I drove so far? I moved some cars that are pretty expensive, but I never like really driven it. But the most expensive car I drove so far, like the only car I'm thinking right now, is probably the Supra that I drove recently. It was a 2022 Supra. That was those retail for like high 50s. It's probably the most expensive car I've ever drove. But if not that, if you're also considering just cars that I got in and I moved it a little bit, probably be a Gallardo that my dad rented back in the day. I sat in it and I moved it a little bit. So yeah, what's the fastest you ever drove? I think I answered this already in from another question earlier, but probably like 105. You know, I never really like speeding on a straight line. It's never been like my thing. So yeah, 105. Did anyone influence you to cars growing up? Yeah, my dad. I also answered this again earlier. But yeah, my dad. Definitely a big influence for me. Growing up with cars, he was a big car guy. He still is a big car guy, but nowadays he's not into JDM stuff like he was back in the day, so that's kind of sad. But yeah, that's my influence growing up. Stephanie asks, are there other car YouTubers you look up to or follow? Yeah, I follow a bunch of car YouTubers. I feel like I've probably watched the same car YouTubers you guys watch. Some of the biggest one on top of my head right now is like Shradman. Well, he's the only guy I'm thinking about right now. Shradman, Tsuchi, and what else do I watch? I watch so many. I just don't remember their names right now. I'm blanking. Hold up. I'm gonna go on my YouTube because I watch a bunch of car guys. There's like car guys on YouTube. There's no way those are the only two that I'm thinking of right now. But let's see. I watch a bunch of them, like Black Panther does like video games and stuff like that, right? Bladed Angel. It's honestly one of the first car YouTubers I started watching. Rob Pitts, Vin Vicky. What else is there? Let's see who else uploaded today. Donut Media, obviously. Hoonikins. My SD card actually became full, so I had to delete some old footage from my SD card. But yeah, I watch a bunch of like car YouTubers, so there's too many on top of my head for me to actually think of like all of the ones that right now that I follow. But definitely the one that I probably look up to the most right now is probably Tsuchi, just because he's the most relatable to me at the moment. I feel like a lot of us watch car content, like car content creators online because it's relatable. There's a bunch of them that I watch, but right now he's the most relatable. Like, as much as I love other content creators, like for example Shadman, he's like the first guy that I think on top of my head. As much as like I love his content, I just don't have the passion for Lamborghini like he does. But Soichi's in a current like similar situation to me at the moment, like just finishing college, looking for jobs. You know, he drives an RX-7, I drive an RX-8. He just feels the most relatable to me at the moment, and you know, it's probably the guy that I look up to the most right now. Am I single? And how do you feel about drag racing? Like I said, the straight line speed has never been like the thing that you know, makes me feel all glittery and stuff, or butterflies or anything like that. But I think it's pretty cool. You know, if you like drag racing, you know, you like drag racing. My thoughts, how do I feel about it? I think it's cool. That's really all I have to say. There's definitely other types of motorsport I like more, but you know, drag racing is also pretty cool. And what's this one? Zebo. My Japanese reading is not the best at the moment, but Zebo asks, will you apply aftermarket parts to your RX-8? Yeah. I know my car looks pretty stock, but there's a bunch of things that I've done already to it. For example, let me see what I can think on the top of my head. I have a Racing Beat mid pipe on it. I have the BHR ignition globally compliant ignition coils. I also have the BHR ignition wires, upgraded starters. I also have Sona oil adapter on it. I also have aftermarket wheels and suspension. It's on Tane. Forgetting the name. Tane Flex C's. The wheels are NK Kyojins, and what else do I have in the car? It's aftermarket taillights. Those are not the best, but aftermarket taillight. I'm sure there's probably a few things I'm forgetting, but yeah, I do have aftermarket parts on the car. But I mean, the car still looks pretty stock though. But that's kind of like the vibe that I'm going for. I really want to do like an OEM plus build on the RX-8, but that's what I'm going for right now. But yeah, I will continue to apply aftermarket parts on the RX-8 as well, and it does currently have it. So then Cloud asks, "What's your favorite car?" Mazda RX-7, my favorite car, probably Yeah, I can't really think of a car I like more than a Mazda RX-7 right at the moment. But yeah, Mazda RX-7 is my favorite car. Daron Hildebrand, hopefully I'm pronouncing it wrong, but Daron asks, what are those rims, by the way? The rims on the car right now is NK Kyojins. Forgetting the exact spec. I think it's 18 by 8.5 plus 45, something like that. Or yeah, I think something like that. But yeah, those are the wheels on my car right now. I wanted gram lights, but I couldn't afford gram lights, and I saw these pop up on Marketplace for a heck of a lot cheaper, so one of them instead. But yeah, I do plan to get gram lights later in the future. It's probably a little later in the future though, because I don't really know if I want to drop 2K on wheels right now. There's other parts I want to get for the car. And let's see, next question. Mehmet asks, well, he says, yo, congrats on the 2K subs. I really like your videos, dude. Got my RX-8 like 7 months ago and never looked back. It has its drawbacks sometimes, but this car is really one of a kind. Future projects for your car? Yeah, definitely. RX-8 is definitely one of a kind. Congrats on your RX-8, and thank you so much for the 2K subscriber. Congratulations. I mean, I gotta thank all of you guys for it. I don't thank you guys for watching my goofy ass, and thank you for watching the videos. I never thought I would hit 2K in like the amount of time that it did. So, you know, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. This goes out for you guys. Just coffee though, but thank you. Okay, so his question: future projects for the car. There's a lot of things I want to do for the car. I think I mentioned earlier just now. I really want to do like an OEM Plus build on the car. So I want to make it like I want to make my car like what Mazda could have done to the RX-8 instead of, you know, what they did. So I want to make it, I want to give it some turbo power. I don't know if I want to add a turbo to it or if I should REW swap it, but I want to keep the car street legal at the end of the day. So I haven't decided which route I want to go down, but that's not like something that I'm gonna do really soon. Probably like, you know, when I have a little bit more money, those are going to be some of the projects I'm thinking about, either REW swap or turbo. If I do turbo, it's not going to be like some crazy high horsepower turbo build, because the Renesis engine doesn't like turbos or any sort of boost, as a matter of fact. So probably a low PSI, probably hit like 350 horsepower. I want it to be like solid and reliable, like somewhat reliable. I don't want the car to, you know, blow up every time I, you know, turn it on or something like that. But that's my future project ideas for the car. Aside from that, I want to fix up the paint for the car. I want to do like a really good detail. I want to get a really good detail done. And, you know, I want to put an R Magic wing on it. So that's some of the ideas I have in my head right now. But thank you for your question. And FRS Hero asks, is yours a Shinka? No, it's not. It's just a regular GT model. And Casper Z33 asks, when will you make it louder? Sucks in New York City though. Didn't they add didn't they add sound cams or something like that? Yes, actually. They did add sound cams in New York City recently. So it's kind of like a speeding camera, but it reads the decibel of your car. And there's been people getting ticketed about that in Brooklyn, and I think recently they added it in Astoria as well, which is a part of Queens. It kind of sucks that they have those speeding the sound cams. I don't really see how they could enforce it, because like, what if you're just driving by blasting music? Because, you know, people do that all the time. Would it actually send you a ticket for that as well? That kind of sucks, but I do plan on making my car louder sometime soon. And since you asked, I do already have exhaust order and is on its way. I know this is something I've talked about a lot in my other videos, like should I get an exhaust, and I finally decided to do it. As for what exhaust I bought though, I'm not going to tell you that right now. I will say though, it's shipping from Japan, and the shipping is taking us a lot longer than I wanted to, so yeah, but I do have plans to make it louder. And that is the last question that I have on my phone at the moment. This probably is going to end up being a pretty long video, because I took a lot more time answering the questions than I thought I would. But yeah, that's pretty much all the questions for today. I tried to answer as many questions as I can, but I didn't have the opportunity to scroll through like every single video that I uploaded and grabbing all the questions. So, you know, most of the questions that I got today, although some of them were from videos and people commented on, most of the questions from today was from the post that I put on the community tab asking you guys for questions for a Q&A. So I gotta thank you guys so much for, you know, just sending in your questions. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I'm probably gonna wrap it up here, and thank you guys so much for 2,000 subscribers. Can't tell you guys how much it really means to me. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm gonna head over to a cafe right now, do some work, wrap up some schoolwork that I have done that I need to do, which is overdue by like 2 months now. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.